Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. On today's episode, we're here in central Poland in the little city of Łowicz. Behind me is the Łowicz Ethnographic Museum. We're going to be showing you around the museum and all the sites inside. So you're going to find a lot more about Polish traditional culture. So join us on another fascinating journey around Polish culture.
One of the monuments of Łowicz culture, from architectural monument and historical mementos to folk art, is the museum in Łowicz. It is located in the former seminary, designed by tillmen from Jemeren and erected at the end of the 17th century by the primate Michał Radziejowski. The museum sets out to inspire the visitors and sensitize them to the past and current traditions of the region by the means of exhibitions, cultural events, and educational activities. The history of the museum collection in Łowicz dates back to the turn of the 19th century and 20th century and is strongly connected with Władysław Tarczyński, a collector and a social worker. He made his collection available to the public in 1905 and called it the Antiquities collection. The museum developed rapidly. It owned over 3,200 exhibits and a library until the outbreak of the First World War. Władysław Tarczyński also included objects and tools from the field of ethnography in the historical artistic collection. The Ethnographic Museum of Polish Tourist Society opened in 1910 and based on the collection of an outstanding social worker, Aniela Chmielińska. The collection of the Municipal Museum and the Ethnographic Museum was originally located together in a building purchased for the museum purposes at 16 Staryrynek Street, which was opened to the public until 1939. The period of the Second World War caused subsequent losses in the museum collections. The National Museum in Warsaw took over both collections in 1948 and formed its department. Connected collections were given a new residence in a reconstructed religious building dated from 1689. Owned by the Cardinal Michał Radziejowski Foundation, the branch of the Baroque art in Poland is situated in a former primate chapel dedicated to Saint Karol Borromeusz. It is an original flank of the 17th century building, which wasn't destroyed during wartime. The interior vault is designed by tillmen from Jemeren and is decorated with illusionistic frescoes by Michelangelo Palloni, showing the life of Charles Borromeo, a patron, missionary, and bishop of Milan. It's the best example of the Italian painter's artistic work in Poland from the turn of the 17th and 18th centuries. The paintings perfectly harmonizes with the stucco decoration on the vault and walls. There are also examples of artistic craft inside, such as furniture, fabrics, glassware, goldsmith, work, porcelain, painting, and sculpture.
Could you tell us about I mentioned just before the Corpus Christi parade through the city. What's the importance of that parade to Łowicz?
Musimy pamiętać o tym, że księżacy
We must remember that the księżacy, the inhabitants of the Łowicz province, were very religious. Therefore, every event related to the Catholic religion was very important to them. The feast of Corpus Christi was very important for the people of this region. It was a moment when people put on beautiful, colorful, and striped costumes. They were in procession. Residents were very eager to take part in this religious event, as it was very important for them. Today, when coming to the procession of Corpus Christi, you can still see a lot of people dressed in costumes, which is why it is said to be such a colorful parade.
kolorowa parada.
Could you tell us about some of the cultural events that happen here inside the Ethnographic Museum?
Staramy się organizować.
We try to organize a lot of events so that the offer is quite broad. First of all, we have a lot of classes for school groups, museum lessons with workshops. We also have workshops for families with children. We organize them on weekends so that families can spend time in the museum, at the same time learning something new.
Czegoś nowego. Poza tym mamy wydarzenia organizowane.
In addition, we have events organized in the open-air museum in Małżyce. These are Majówka in the Open Air Museum, as well as Sundays in the Open Air Museum. Then we organize meetings with folk artists, during which you can make a cutout or make a spider with a lady who deals with paper making. We also organize the Night of Museums, which in our case takes place mainly in the Museum of Łowicz.
Tutaj w Muzeum w Łowiczu.
Sorry, what did you do for the Night of the Museums this year? Was there a special event?
Na Noc Muzeów zwykle staramy się...
On the Night of Museums, we usually try to prepare events for every age group. It often happens that parents come with small children, so we try to create varied exhibitions. For instance, a vernissage for adults, a concert, but also workshops. There is something for younger children as well as for older children, so that everyone can find something suitable for themselves. A very important part of the program is the regional final of the competition called Museal Meetings with Photography. The regional stage of this competition takes place in our museum, but it is a nationwide competition organized by the museum in Koszalin. This is one of the most important elements of the Night of the Museum celebration in our facility.
Istotny punkt.
I can't say this is my own knowledge, but I have read, and I found it quite interesting, that Łowicz has the world's first welded road bridge. So could you tell us, how did that come about?
Tak naprawdę nie Łowicz.
Not really in Łowicz, but in the Open Air Museum in Małżyce, which I mentioned earlier. Indeed, the first welded bridge is located there, as the ones created before it were riveted. Thanks to the engineer Stefan Bryła, who designed this bridge, it was created in 1929.
Tutaj powstał. To był rok 1900.
In fact, when it was put into service, it was the first and only bridge of its kind in the world. Later, other bridges were built in accordance with this technique.
Według tej techniki.
Okay, so I would like to ask you, maybe from your opinion, what do you think that the people of Łowicz are most proud of?
No myślę, że można być na pewno, będąc mieszkańcem...
I think that Łowicz residents can be proud of this folk culture, which is so vivid and so beautiful. It can be encountered in many places. When you come to Łowicz, you can meet a person in an authentic Łowicz attire who is going to an event. In many places, you can buy souvenirs, you can buy cutouts, various embroidered products, for example, one similar to how I am dressed today. It is contemporary clothing decorated with Łowicz embroidery. This is certainly a source of pride, because in other regions, this regional culture is slowly disappearing. You cannot see it.
Nie widać jej.
However, with us, by the efforts of residents and institutions, such as the museum in Łowicz, these various manifestations of folk culture are still alive.
Przejawy kultury ludowej są cały czas żywe.
If you were not raised in Łowicz, what gave you the interest and the desire to learn more and come to work here at this museum?
Łowicz i region łowicki.
Łowicz, as well as the Łowicz region, is the center of folk culture for Poland. Well, in Poland, when we talk about national culture, traditions associated with Łowicz and traditions related to Małopolska are often mentioned. The Łowicz outfit, the Kraków outfit, are often mentioned as national costumes. Because of my interest in folk culture, finding myself in the center of this culture, which lives and thrives until today, was a very interesting choice. Hence, I am here.
I stąd tu jestem.